पहले वही लोग पूछते थे कि यार फिल्म वाले अभी ओटीटी में आ रहे हैं, आपको बुरा नहीं लग रहा है वो शोज कर रहे हैं? मैंने कहा अभी वो लोग शो करेंगे तो किसी को फिल्म करनी पड़ेगी ना, तो हम वो कर लेंगे.
You know, initially it was looked down upon, internet was looked down upon, OTT was like, I mean, there were some people who were like, okay, taking interest, they were curious as to what this new medium is. But then there were some people who dismissed it outrightly. There is still a very small, but still very existent part of the industry which still dismisses OTT, thinking it's a phase, or it was just because of lockdown or whatever. But you're right. Like now, suddenly, all the big wigs of the industry are coming onto OTT, and they want to make shows, and they want to cast names, and they want to cast film actors, film stars, A-listers.
For all film-related interviews, reviews, and content, please like and subscribe to Puja Talwar. You can also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram.
हेलो शर्मा सिबलिंग में जब भी आप दोनों के नाम सुनती हूँ ना, चंचल चितवन, वो मुझे वो सरस्वती चंद्र का गाना याद आता है, चंचल चितवन. याद है तुमको दोनों को?
हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल याद है. हर सीजन से पहले हम वर्कशॉप में एक बार गाते हैं वो गाना.
We remind ourselves of that.
So now the siblings are back and now they're dealing with parental crisis. But tell me, it's season 3. And is there like, there is a lot of pressure and expectations too, because season 1 was fantastic. Season 2, okay, there's too much content, lukewarm response. Now season 3. So as Chanchal Chitwan and as Maanvi and Amol, kya pressure hai?
I think as Chanchal Chitwan has more pressure than Chanchal does, for sure. There's more at stake for him. I mean, Chitwan is one of the most loved characters on internet. Chanchal is, in terms of characterization, I don't think she has, she's the voice of reason in the show, right? So she's, the punchlines are not with her. She doesn't take the story forward in the sense of taking the conflict forward or even coming up with a resolution, but she's just reacting the way the audience would react, probably. So she's representing the audience here, I feel. And in terms of Maanvi and Amol, I think we're I'm quite excited because I feel Tripling is the kind of show which people are already invested in. They're invested in this universe, they're invested in these characters, and they're just waiting for it to come out, and it's coming out on Diwali. Everything just is kind of falling in place. They'll watch it with their families, it's a long weekend. So yeah.
मुझे उल्टा लगता है कि मुझे कभी-कभी कम प्रेशर फील होता है because of Chitwan. Because I think which also I have to remind myself कि ज़्यादा complacent नहीं होना है, because it is the complacence that comes out of experience of कि अरे प्यार मिल ही जाता है, लोग पसंद कर ही लेते हैं, तो वो I think थोड़ा उस over confidence में नहीं पड़ना चाहिए. Thankfully, while I'm doing it, I'm not in that
but it's
zone.
Not overconfidence. It's like
I mean, it is some kind of belief in the love. It's like so hopefully, so I feel excited. Of course, that excitement. When is excitement, and when is excitement, nervousness? Also, we don't know. They're very fluid feelings, these two. But I always feel more positive when a season of Tripling is coming out. It feels like कुछ अच्छा होने वाला है. मुझे ऐसा अंदर से तो ऐसी फील आती है कि कुछ अच्छा होने वाला है. Even like you said with season 2, maybe it was not as hugely received as season 1, but मुझे अच्छा ही feeling हुआ था pre-release और अच्छा ही feeling हुआ था post-release भी, because eventually it is something. I mean, I think also because this kind of show suffers because it is being compared to itself.
Yeah.
मतलब वो ये नहीं बोल रहे हैं लोग कि यार ये क्या शो है, ये तो मजा ही नहीं आया, बाकी शो देखो कितने अच्छे हैं. वो ये बोल रहे हैं, अगर बोल रहे हैं कि यार पहले मुझे इतना ज्यादा मजा आया था, इस बार आपने मुझे इतना ज्यादा मजा क्यों नहीं दिया. And that is again in totality not a very disappointing complaint. It's not like oh हमने ये क्या कर दिया, ये तो वो हो गया. It is something that probably competition भी अपने से ही हो रहा है, लोग compare भी seasons
you're so good that then they're like
कि वो ये नहीं बोल रहे कि हाँ दूसरे लोगों ने देखो क्या किया, वो बोल रहे कि देखो आपने ही क्या किया था.
Also the fact that this show began at a time when OTT was not the phenomenon it is now. It was one of its first kind. So I think that's only added to the pressure, because now not pressure, expectations, because there's so much of content out there now that the viewers literally spoil for choice.
Yeah.
True. But again, I think positive bhi hai usme, because maybe when you make a new show now, and in this day and age, how much you will need to put it out there for people to come and sample
You
your show
have
even.
to make a
आके
market
देखेंगे.
for it. Correct.
आपको पूरा marketing मुझे नहीं पता वो कैसे budgets work करते हैं, but I'm sure you'll have to spend a lot of money to stand out कि भाई ये ऐसा एक show है जो आ रहा है नया. I think that is something, at least that's a battle that we don't have to fight. We have to fight the battle of expectations, but the battle of visibility we don't have to fight, because ये आप मैं तो कई बार मजाक करता हूँ कि अगर आप बिना पोस्टर रिलीज किए बस एक पोस्टर पे नाम भी नहीं. सेकंड सीजन में when we announced for the first time, we released the poster which didn't even have a name of the show. It was just an image of the three actors in a mirror, and that was it, and that said coming soon. And nobody had to tell anyone कि ये किस चीज का पोस्टर है और क्या शो है और ये क्या एक्सपेक्ट किया जाए. कुछ नहीं, वो उसी में ही हो गया था. सब वायरल सब हो गया था पागल पे. So that is a battle I think we are thankfully not having to fight, because this is a show that people will find and watch if they want to.
Also, the fact when you're revisiting a character for the third time in a row, what is that like? Do you suddenly find there's an actors have unka multi personalities hoti hain? Do you start seeing yourself in it, or do you like become so comfortable it's just like slipping your hand into a comfortable glove and saying, "Chal, aata hai mujhe karna."
I actually feel so invariably, I think you end up taking parts of subconsciously, subliminally, you end up taking parts of who you are and adding those to the characters. What we call making the character your own, So also I feel, anyway, so there's that. And then I think with a show like Tripling, which it doesn't take itself too seriously. And even in fact, I remember season 1, like often I'd go to RK or Sumit with questions that, no, but in this line, why is Chanchal saying this? And what is her motivation? And, all of those actor questions. And they'd look at me and be like, we haven't thought about it so much. Like when we wrote the line, we didn't think about it so much. So just say it. Just think of the first thing that comes to your mind. So I also had to kind of rewire myself to working like that. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'll do it. I'll do it how I find it right. And like you said, there is a certain familiarity with the character. There is a certain understanding of the world she comes from. There's a certain understanding of why she says what she does and how she says what she does. So you kind of, it's a mix of both of these. You also don't take it too seriously, and you don't, but at the same time, you are trying to build a character around it, and you want it to be starkly different from all the other characters that you've played. So it gets complicated. But I often, like when you're doing repeated seasons, what I find very interesting is, like with me, this invariably happens that a few days before shoot, I'm panicking. Like I get major anxiety because I feel like I don't remember the character, and I won't be able to kind of go back to that same emotionality, same kind of personality. But then I've realized that the minute you start the process, the minute you start the workshops, readings, and you start meeting the same cast and sometimes the same crew, it just kind of keeps coming back. And then you have your tricks up. Like I have this thing that I use the same perfume for the same character, for one character. So that just
does the same.
Yeah. And it just kind of helps you in like in your sensory way of traveling to that time and that world and that universe.
So
मैं तो first season में बहुत nervous था about the character, but I think once it had been created and it had been accepted, that was more important. Then I think at least I wouldn't, again, it would more be excitement than nervousness कि हाँ मुझे वापस से करना है. Because first season there was a lot of hit and trial. We were trying to create a character which was not very easy to pin down. ये है कौन, ये चाहता क्या है, and like Maanvi said, the show also doesn't take itself seriously. तो और वो character उससे भी आगे है, उस show का भी बाप है वो तो बिल्कुल ही समझ में नहीं आता होता कि ये कौन है भाई, मैं क्या play कर रहा हूँ, ये funny है नहीं है, क्या हो रहा है, because there was no reference to that character also, कि ऐसा character हमने यहाँ देखा है वहाँ देखा है. But once it had been done, once that picture had been created in my head, then I think it was just ki, just before the show would begin to start shooting, I think it would start coming back to me. And that, people around me can tell me, my managers, my PR, sometimes, like, you've started behaving, your sense of humor has started becoming like Chitwan already. We can see that abhi shoot chalu
But
hone wala hai ya release hone wala
sorry,
hai.
Amol, I have to interrupt, but I also feel that. Like, I also think that, so season 1, I remember in all the interviews, I remember saying very clearly that Amol is very different from Chitwan. And he was. And I know that he worked really hard to become that character or whatever. Like, he was a different person. But now with season 2, I felt it more, and then like now I'm feeling it even more, that he's becoming more and more or maybe when I see him now, I only see him in the context of tripling. So maybe it just seems like he's being Chitwan. I feel like he's kind of taken a lot of Chitwan's characteristics or put Amol's characteristics in Chitwan.
तो मेरा sense of humor भी shoot के around और release के around चितवन जैसा हो जाता है.
Also, not the fact that you're playing brother sister, आपको पता है ना, वो फिर वो एक एक छवि बन जाती है. So
maybe, yeah, because our relationship also then becomes like that, no? Like somewhat, like it creeps into real life also. So yeah.
Can you imagine you have a show coming where you maybe have to play romantic interest or maybe antagonists opposite each other? तो नहीं होगा, तुम तो मेरा भाई हो, तुम मेरी बहन हो, मैं तुम्हारा.
Yeah, no, I think
नहीं, हम तो कर लेंगे हम तो.
No, but I think it's so etched in people's minds also, right? Like Chanchal Chitwan and their brother, sister. I don't think they'll only able to accept it.
हमसे ज़्यादा उनको तकलीफ होगी ऐसा.
Correct.
Also, but it's amazing when tripling started, and also your careers have come, gone, shot up, like the kind of work Amol has done, the kind of work you have done. But it suddenly was seen as a space where it gave new, upcoming and talented people a platform. But do you feel up to wo, everybody was running away from the Bollywood ki bheed. Ab lag raha hai Bollywood ki bheed bhi aa gayi hai. What would you say? It's like literally.
I agree. No, I do agree with this, that initially it was looked down upon, internet was looked down upon, OTT was like, I mean, there were some people who were like, okay, taking interest, they were curious as to what this new medium is. But then there were some people who dismissed it outrightly. There is still a very small, but still very existent part of the industry which still dismisses OTT, thinking it's a phase or it was just because of lockdown or whatever. But you're right. Like now suddenly all the bigwigs of the industry are coming onto OTT, and they want to make shows, and they want to cast names, and they want to cast film actors, film stars, A-listers, because they feel, again, that's how it will sell. And I don't know. I guess we're at that stage where everybody's trying different things. Nobody really knows, because there are shows with like pure raw talent, that like people with no names that have worked, and ones with like really big stars have failed, and the other way around also. So we don't know. We'll just have to wait and watch. But I do think that this star culture is coming. The hierarchy that we. By we, I mean the people who started OTT, that they kind of, this was a rebellion it was almost like a rebellion to that hierarchy. And now I feel that hierarchy is coming here as well. So, yeah.
Rebellion on the face of rebellion, yeah.
But पहले वही लोग पूछते थे कि यार फिल्म वाले अभी OTT में आ रहे हैं, आपको बुरा नहीं लग रहा है वो शोज कर रहे हैं. मैंने कहा अभी वो लोग शो करेंगे तो किसी को फिल्म करनी पड़ेगी ना, तो हम वो कर लेंगे. I mean, the total amount of work is not reducing for sure. It is in fact, it is, if you, I mean, initially you feel like, I should have done that show now because they have some bigger names in terms of Bollywood and films. Maybe they are being preferred for some projects that you think you should have done or you would have done. In that case, but it is also a measure of, like Maanvi said, it is a measure of acceptance. Yeah, abhi, so you somewhere, if you can just rewire and think कि भाई नहीं, actually में ये हो ये रहा है कि president हम set कर रहे हैं. Just a way of looking at it sometimes. कि भाई अभी मैंने ये किया तो लोग हमारे पीछे भाग के यहाँ आ रहे. It is just about, if you keep doing what you think is right, and if you keep doing what you like and what your mind says should be done, then you will be okay, because clearly then many people will just run after whatever is working without really understanding the medium. When we did our first OTT shows, and I did a bunch of subsequent OTT shows, then I thought I'd move on to films, but those films also came on OTT because of the pandemic. But at least when I choose projects, I have a sense of why I'm doing this, what is the audience I'm trying to reach, what is the genre I want to do. It is not, I'm not running after a fad. That I can at least then sit down and reassure myself, मैं सब इधर से उधर नहीं भाग रहा हूँ कि अच्छा वो चल रहा है वो करता हूँ. So I kind of have some confidence on knowing what I'm doing and what I want to do, and that is something, and that is an advantage again that maybe we have, because we saw this medium grow from like almost zero. Maanvi had done a show even before tripling, which was my first show, which was or zero ke paas the. So when you see a medium growing, when you grow with the audience, you have a connect with the audience that you can't just make by, like, again, you can't just make by marketing budgets or Instagram numbers. It is a connect that you have because they've been watching you for years and they've loved your work and they're going with you and they're following you. It's almost like they're invested in your growth and in your career, which is a luxury that I sometimes feel even Bollywood doesn't have, or the big Bollywood. I mean, we're all Bollywood, but people see many Bollywood stars from a distance. It's almost like they're alien to them. But with many of us OTT actors, it feels like they are invested in us. They love us. They feel like they want to support us. They want to help us build our careers and our lives, and they feel proud when we do well, which is a feeling that it's unmatched.
I totally get that. And Jate, no, you're the pioneers, as they would say. Jate, ye bata, if you were to meet Chanchal and Chitwan and come face to face, क्या advice दोगे आप दोनों अपने characters को?
One advice that I would like to give Chanchal is that, don't try to fix everything. You can't, because she's always trying to fix her parents' problem, her brother's problems, her own marital problems, or whatever. She thinks that she can fix it, but they're not. Some things are not unfixable, and some things are none of your business even, to kind of try and want to fix. So yeah, and a lot of because she does that a lot, it ends up straining her own relationships. So I would just like her to kind of just relax a little and be like, it's fine, just let people be, they'll figure themselves out, we're all adults, be around for them, for support and stuff, but that's about it. Like, that's just love them, and you don't need to constantly try to fix their problems.
I think that's an advice I will take from Chitwan. The exact same advice. Ki zyada tension nahi lo, chill a little bit, it'll be fine, just be around people. That's whatever Maanvi said.
That's for me too.
Yeah, I mean, we all, sometimes it's not like I am like that every day of my life, but I can get into phases where, I just like start thinking too much and analyzing everything and सब कुछ को math बनाने की कोशिश करता हूँ और equation बनाने की कोशिश करता हूँ. But this is something that I've learned from this character, in fact, by playing this character, that, sometimes you just trust the flow of life and you just go with it and you'll be fine. You don't have to analyze every small decision or every big decision. Sometimes you just go with your instinct and figure your way out, as Chitwan would say.
So I'll also take that advice. On that note, all the very best. Hopefully a season.
Thank you.
3 साल नहीं wait करना पड़ेगा. Like, आपके seasons also come
Hopefully.
like 2 साल, 3 साल, अब 4 साल ना. But thank you so much, both of you. All the very best.
Thank you. Bye.